The Cleveland Cavaliers finished last season 51-31, number 4 in the Eastern Conference. But even after retooling their lineup with Donovan Mitchell, a four-time All-Star, they were still eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Let's take a look at their first 10 games and their clear upgrade at small forward when they brought in Max Strus.
Yeah, I think that was a great addition to their roster. However, when I look at their first 10, I notice that there's two back-to-backs at the top of the season. W- Wow. I guess the league said, let's go and get Cleveland Cavaliers out of the way. Two back-to-backs? They're going to be exhausted before game 8.
Exactly.
What? But I think they can do it. They're a young squad, so they should be able to manage that, I hope, and if everybody comes back healthy, it seems to be a pretty easy. I'm gonna say easy. I noticed that their schedule that they're playing the same teams twice. Knicks 2 times, Pacers 2 times, Golden State Warriors 2 times, and OKC 2 times. That's their whole 10 games. And I think they play the Nets and the Kings once. Like we just gonna double up on all the teams that they have, which is a kind of odd because when we looked at previous first tens from previous videos, none of them had the same team more like 2 and 3 teams twice. So it's a weird schedule to me, and it's interesting that they're starting their series off with these teams early within the first 10, and then they may not play them again until they may not play them again at all, depending on how
Yeah.
many games they have for the rest of the season, which is
Mhm.
really odd. It's
It
kind of
is.
odd.
I don't know who put together the Cavs schedule, but it just seems to me like for example, the New York Knicks, games that they have. You play them at home and then you go into back to back with the New York Knicks. So why did the NBA do that? I thought that was interesting. I think they're trying to create a rivalry between the Cavs and the Knicks, especially because, the Knicks eliminated the Cavs in the first round, right? Nobody saw
Yeah,
that coming. Maybe they did. I don't know. Well, the
yeah.
Cavs definitely, they have their hands full now because one of their executives got caught up. So I'm just wondering now, like, how do you give out discipline to the team when you got your own issue?
I think he's too far. I think he's far enough removed that it should not affect the locker room. I mean, well,
I
he's the
hope,
president,
I hope not.
so I don't know. I believe they touch him, the players touch him, but the closest touch would also be the coaches. So I think that there's a buffer between the president and the players. And so I don't think it should have a major impact. Now, the
Hmm.
organization overall will have to answer, reprimand if that's what's in his clause and his contract. But other than that, I don't think it'll have an impact to the players. I don't think it'll be a big, big distraction because, again, when I saw it, I was like, oh, who? Not for, he's there, but he's not the
Hmm.
focal point of the Cavs roster. But I just think that they last season they went 8-2, so they have a couple of televised games where they play on TNT first matchup with the Knicks on October 31st, and then they have NBA TV twice at the end of the 10 games, excuse me, Golden State Warriors and Sacramento Kings. So
And
you
I think
know,
during the first 10, we'll get a chance to see Niang, right? Struz. They added some perimeter shooting, which I don't know that they needed because what they did was they exchanged offense for defense, right? Isaac Okoro is your defender, your perimeter defender. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, they're pretty small dudes. But now you add in Max Strus, who's 6'5", who can get you perimeter shooting, but he's going to struggle on defense. And that could be a problem during these first 10 games. Because when you play teams like Golden State Warriors, who have that three-guard lineup real small, New York Knicks backcourt is pretty deep as well. And OKC, you know,
and okay,
hey.
I think where they may have attempted to enhance their roster is adding Tristan Thompson as a center, a veteran center. He was drafted to the Cavs back in the day, and so he won a chip with the Cavs in 2016, and he was on the roster for a couple of years. So maybe bringing back Tristan Thompson will give them more physicality that they needed. I think that's one of the things that came out when they went home, when the Knicks sent them home. That they struggled with getting rebounds. I mean, Jared Allen can't do it by himself. So I believe that them bringing in Tristan Thompson will give them a little bit more physical presence, perhaps, to get
Mhm.
more rebounds. Because I know that there's something. I read an article where Jared Allen was like, "I'm gonna have to do some work in the off season." I'm summarizing it, of course, but he realized that he got beat by Mitchell from the New York Knicks on the boards. And so, yeah. So, I mean, although the Cavs were good during the regular season, hopefully now with Tristan being on the roster, not sure how much time he'll get, but perhaps he can be a vocal leader, playoff experience type of
Yeah,
player on the roster, even though he may not get as many minutes. Can he be the Cavs Udonis Haslam? Can he
possibly.
do that? Can he help support Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in those efforts and how they can, improve their skills? We're talking about going deep in the playoffs and how they should be performing when the game is a little bit different from what I'm hearing, when talking about regular season versus playoff games. And so maybe this season will be the season with him being on the roster. I may be giving him too much credit, but I'm just trying to figure out why they brought him over. That's the only reason why I think they may have brought him over to help with, the bigs and how they manage postseason play. So yeah, let's see what that looks like, and maybe that's another addition along with Max Strus, and Niang that can kind of help them. So we'll see.
Because the Cavs, they don't really have trouble in the regular season. I mean, they
No,
had a stellar record, right? 51-31, number four, top four in the East.
yeah, but
That was impressive. But when that postseason comes,
mm-hmm.
things change. And it's funny though, because the Cavs, having Evan and Jared, we're like, oh wow, they're the Twin Towers, bringing in Tristan Thompson, also Damian Jones. I'm like, wow, they got even bigger,
Yeah,
in the front court. So it's like,
I
interesting.
think bigger and more presence, if you will. I mean, Jared Allen is nice. He's sweet. He's a nice player, Evan Mobley, but Tristan Thompson is probably going to be like, "Arr." I don't know how to explain that, but it's just a difference in experience, right, and difference in how to approach being more physical. I don't know any other way to say it, but I think Tristan Thompson can bring that to the Cavs, especially when we're talking about the front court. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Now, the game that stands out for me is, of course, the back-to-backs against the New York
Of
Knicks.
course.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Me too.
Anytime you get kicked out in the first round, which was not anticipated for the Cavs, it is on TNT. And if you remember in the postseason, there was a lot of talk about, ooh, Donovan Mitchell going back to New York. Oh my goodness, his hometown. And the Knicks were slated to probably get Donovan Mitchell, but that didn't work out. So now that they play them back to back, and they still have that bitter taste in their mouth from being kicked out in the first round.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's the game I'm looking forward to see.
Yeah, I'm also that one, those two games, and also the games against OKC. Because last season, when the Cavs played OKC, they split the series. This season, what's going to be different on the Cavs? We just talked about their additions. But Chet Holmgren coming to OKC. I want to know what that's going to look like. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
So what do those two matchups? Because they played the OKC Thunder twice in the first 10. What does that look like? So I'm looking forward to both of those games because right now I'm really checking for OKC and the Sam.
Yeah,
So when they
yeah.
playing somebody and I like the Cavs. So when they playing teams that I really like, OKC, I'm like, well, what they talking about? So I can't wait to see what that looks like now that Shed is going to be on the roster for OKC this
Hmm.
season. So I have those two games highlighted on my schedule.
Okay, I do have one more. The
Me
game
too.
against the Warriors.
I don't have the
I want to
Warriors.
see how the Cavs can exploit the Warriors' size because we're talking about a three-guard lineup,
Good point.
right? Versus Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and now Max Strus, and also the bigs that the Cavs have. How are they going to look up against Draymond Green at center? Because the Warriors are pretty small.
Yeah, Kevin Looney, huh?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. It's
Mhm.
funny. In the same vein, I have highlighted the Kings. Their last game 10 against the Kings. Because the Kings added another big as well. I forget the guy's name. Who did they add?
JaVale McGee.
Yes,
Yep.
that's the one. So I cannot wait to see what that looks like and how will again this what I'm going to be checking for the Cavs. Can they improve overall, especially as we're leading up to the postseason, provided they make it again? Can they improve in their offensive rebounding? Can they improve in physicality as it relates to the front court? I want to know what that looks like because again, Evan Mobley been in this is his third season. Evan Mobley, third, fourth, maybe third.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
and then Jared Allen played with Brooklyn. Now he's with the Cavs. What? How will they have improved? Because I think that was one of the holes that I saw in the postseason. So I want to see if that improvement will take place over as the regular season progresses, and that's going to be something I'm going to be looking forward to seeing with the Cavs, especially for me. I'm checking for front court improvement.
Okay. And one of the challenges I have is, as I mentioned earlier, they exchange defense for offense. But okay, we know that. But I think depth is still an issue for the Cavs. If you look at that second unit, the only one that can go out and get a bucket on their own is Karis LeVert.
Yeah.
And how will Isaac Okoro accept his new secondary role? You know?
I
Yeah,
know, because
yeah.
Max Strus said kaboom.
I'm here.
I'm
Exactly.
here. Yeah, no, I
Mm-hmm.
know. He needs to. And maybe, and just maybe, that will be enough to help with the second unit. Perhaps that's where he needs to be. Perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. But Rubio, going on a hiatus. So then there's that. So yeah, I like to see the Cavs are going to be something interesting to watch. Donovan Mitchell still got to bring it. It is imperative that Donovan Mitchell leads this Cavs team along with Darius Garland to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Eek.
Eek is right, Donovan. I can tell you one thing: it can't be another round one exit. You was able to at least get to round 2 with the Utah Jazz. I'm gonna expect, and I'm gonna need for you to go further than that with the cat with this roster, and you was able to
Mm-hmm.
do it with almost much less, maybe comparable, maybe, but the Utah Jazz. Come on. Yeah, they got. I think the expectations are pretty high for Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs this season. I just think so. It was a big deal to bring over Donovan Mitchell for the Cavs last season,
Yep.
and it kind of fizzled out. It was almost anticlimactic. Like, oh, what? Well, I mean, what? We going home early? It
Mm-hmm.
can't be that way for next season, 2024 season. So I expect at least a round 2 play,
At least, yeah.
at least.
Okay. All right. Now I have the Cavs going 5-5 on their first 10.
Hmm.
I have them winning their first game against Brooklyn, losing to OKC. I just, that young team, I think it just might be a little bit too much too fast for them. Indiana, I think they'll easily get the win. The back-to-backs against New York, I think they'll split.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll beat the Indiana Pacers. I mean, it it could go either way, but I have them beating the Golden State Warriors, losing to OKC again, and then finishing up their first 10 with 2 L's, one to the Warriors and one to the Kings. So that's 5-5 on the first 10, which is average, right? It's fine.
I have them going 7-3. I just don't, and
Mm.
I do not have them losing to the Golden State Warriors. That length should be their advantage. What
Mm-hmm.
they lack in experience, they should be able to gain in length. Right? If the coach knows how to utilize the players, and the players know how to show up when they play against the Warriors. I actually have them going 7-3. So I have them winning Nets, OKC, Pacers, and Knicks first matchup. I think the back to back with the Knicks again will be a loss to them. So either way, they'll split the Knicks. And then I have them losing to OKC in the November 8th matchup. Then I also had them losing to the Kings. Something about that Kings roster is going to be so special. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have them losing to the Kings to end the first 10 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those young trendy teams like the Kings, OKC, Houston Rockets, gonna give teams some trouble
I
this
know, I
season.
know, I know. They better get ready. These old legs better get ready for these new legs. They about to get it. Yeah, they hungry too. So we'll see.